Ben Jeffers has devoted more than half a century to public service, leadership, and civic engagement at the local, state, and national levels. A resident of Baton Rouge and a graduate of Southern University with a degree in business, his career reflects a lifelong commitment to strengthening communities, expanding opportunity, and serving people with integrity. Ben grew up in Lake City, Florida, the middle child in a family deeply rooted in service. His father, McKinley Jeffers, was both a county agent and a pastor, while his mother, Frances Jeffers, was an elementary school teacher, piano instructor, and choir director. From an early age, Ben was active, curious, and drawn to civics. He attended Richardson Elementary and later graduated from Minnie Jones Niblack Elementary, named for his aunt, and still operating today. In school, Ben excelled academically and socially. He was active in 4-H, served as editor of his high school newspaper, and was elected president of the student council. A standout student athlete, he played football and basketball, and won first prize in chemistry at the Florida State Science Fair at Florida A&M. Early signs of the leadership and curiosity that would define his life. After beginning college at Montana State College, Ben joined the United States Marine Corps in 1963. He graduated from basic training, aviation school, and was promoted to sergeant in 1966. He also played on the Marine Corps basketball team. After completing his military service, Ben finished his education at Southern University, earning his bachelor's degree in business. In 1967, Ben moved to Lake Charles, where he worked for the Lake Charles News Leader and later founded the Lake Charles Times. Through journalism, he wrote about the critical issues of the day, including civil rights, giving voice to communities often unheard. Ben's work in government began in 1971 as a congressional aide to Edwin W. Edward, marking the start of a trusted professional relationship that would span more than 5 decades. In 1972, Ben was appointed Human Relations Director, where he successfully advocated for community relations and human relations training within the Louisiana State Police, work that remains relevant today. In 1976, he was named acting director of Charity Hospital in New Orleans, where he diffused a potential nursing strike by negotiating a new contract and ensuring continuity of care. He later chaired the Governor's Conference on Aging, drawing more than 11,000 seniors, praised by Governor Edwards as the best conference to date. In 1978, Ben founded Ben Jeffers, Inc., a management and marketing consulting firm that continues to serve national and international clients. In 1979, he ran for Secretary of State, earning a substantial statewide vote and major candidate status. At the federal level, he was appointed by Secretary Patricia Roberts Harris and President Jimmy Carter to serve as Regional Director of Health and Human Services in Region 6, and later to the Senior Executive Service, working across 5 southern states and with leaders including then-Governor Bill Clinton. Ben's dedication to democracy is evident in his leadership of statewide voter registration and education efforts. He chaired projects that registered thousands of citizens, including historic marches across Louisiana and from Kentucky to Detroit, following the Underground Railroad route. In 1992, Ben Jeffers made history as the first African-American chief of staff to a Louisiana governor, serving Edwin W. Edwards. He also served as an elector for President Clinton and later as chair of the Louisiana Democratic Party, becoming the first African-American to hold that role. Beyond politics, Ben has served as chair of the LSU Museum of Art Advisory Board guided by his love of art and belief in cultural enrichment. Most importantly, he has mentored countless young leaders, many of whom now serve in senior roles across Louisiana government. Married to Salomia Lawson Jeffers for 60 years, Ben is a devoted husband, father to Ben Jeffers II, an active member of Mount Zion First Baptist Church. Ben Jeffers' life is a testament to service, leadership, and the power of investing in people. His induction into the Louisiana Political Hall of Fame honors not only what he has achieved, but the generations he has inspired. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ben Jeffers.
Thank you very much. One thing I did early on that all of you will really appreciate is I made a personal invite to my pastor who has to be at church early in the morning. And I also invited several pastors / presidents and bishops of the largest African-American denominations in the state, and the table full back here, and they have to get back tomorrow morning early for church too. So I'll be very brief, all right? I'd like to thank the Louisiana Political Museum and the Hall of Fame and its board of directors and the chair, Randy. As Randy said, we've known each other close to 50 years, so that's quite a bit. I also like to thank God for just having the opportunity and making the right decision when I didn't know any better, after I got discharged from the United States Marine Corps, to move to Louisiana. Because before that, I knew very little about Louisiana. But that was a good decision. But even before that, I had the good sense to marry my actually high school sweetheart, who I met in the 10th grade. You heard on the bio that I grew up in Florida. She grew up in North Carolina. I went to North Carolina because it was my dad's home every summer to work in the Baptist. And we had a chance to meet, and 65 years later, Salome. Yeah. And we are fortunate. We have a son, BJ, and just a brief story about BJ. When we got to Lake Charles, we were there probably 6 months maybe, and I got involved in local politics, and there were a few issues going on in Lake Charles, so I decided to go to an NAACP meeting. Everybody agreed at that meeting we were going to protest the Gulf Assistance Program that was dealing with anti-poverty, and they weren't hiring too many African Americans. So we decided we were going to start picketing, if you will. And early this particular morning, I got up and we dropped Salome off at school, and BJ and I went to join the picket. And when we got there, we were the only ones picketing. And he was about, I guess, close to 4 years old at the time. So we picketed for a whole week, kind of by ourselves, until Salome came up and said, look, you know, this has the end. So, and I said all that to say, Salome has been with me in all of my public service and basically all of my life at this point. So I really appreciate you, Salome, and I appreciate my family. Also, I'm from Florida, and Salome's from North Carolina, and we got tables of our relatives. I'm going to first ask my relatives on Salome's side to please stand. And they're from Detroit, from North Carolina, and a few other places. Now, my relatives on my side, please stand. And these are the Joneses, and they're from California, Texas, and a few other places. Now, I'm going to do something that's a little bit different. I had a lot of people I wanted to thank, and I thought the best way to do that was to invite them all to come here tonight. So bear with me. Everybody that I personally invited to come here tonight, to thank you for letting me stand on your shoulders and you standing on my shoulders. And look, this includes a whole lot of people, and I'll mention a few names. Cleo Fields is not here tonight, but his wife is here, Deborah. Deborah, I appreciate it. I actually was the best man in Deborah's wedding, so Deborah's here. And lo and behold, Governor John Bell Edwards is one of my guests tonight. Also, the table with the presidents of the state Baptists, the bishop with the Church of God in Christ, and my good friend Donald Hunter. Will you guys please stand? All right. Look. Now, one more thing. All right. Everybody that I literally personally invited people and made phone calls myself, and I'm gonna brag a little bit. We have 10 tables here tonight, y'all. All right. Will my guests please stand? Don't be bashful. Wow. Don't be bashful.
You spent a fortune, man. Wow. Got half the people here. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And to show you how serious I was about that, my personal physician is here tonight. Again, I'd like to thank the museum itself and the Hall of Fame for this honor. But more important than that, I'm very appreciative of being inducted with this particular class. I mean, this is a great class. You guys have to think about this when you go back home. Read some more stuff about this particular class. This is a great class. You know, recently I talked with Mayor Bartholomew, and the mayor will remember this conversation. We both were talking about, getting a little bit older, which happens in life, and it's the best part of life, actually. So I called the mayor. I said, Mayor, I said, we haven't been voting like we should in Louisiana. And I think some of us that's been around a little bit, we need to do some things to activate our people and get people. It's one thing to get people registered to vote. It's a whole other thing to get people to actually go out and vote. And I asked the mayor, I said, Mayor, would you mind doing some churches, maybe one church a month, somewhere in the state where you talk about the importance of voting. And the mayor said, you tell me what church and I'll do it. So I appreciate that, Mayor. And when we talk about Sherman Copeland, I remember back in '71 when I came in here into New Orleans with Edwin Edwards and got a chance to see what I thought was one of the best political structures that I'd ever seen anywhere in the country. And that's when working with Sherman Copeland, Don Hubbard, the mayor, and I saw the constables here. I mean, you guys had the best system in the world. And basically, I'd like to see that, reinvigorated. We need to do something to get our people voting again. And that's one of the things, I'm bragging about the ministers and pastors and presidents of these associations that are here tonight. The thing that I've been working with them on, with the Power Coalition and with Congressman Fields, is to get people activated to vote again. I encourage people to vote in every election because it's just that important. And again, I started out by saying I wasn't going to be too long, but I had the opportunity tonight to sit by Ron. I've worked with Ron. Ron always kind of claims he's worked behind the scenes, but he's, almost everything that you see a lot of us do, Ron has worked, has given us the blueprint. And Ron, in life, I appreciate that, and I want you to know that. Again, thanks for the opportunity. There was an article written about this event yesterday, and they ended the little quote from me by saying that I was retired. That's not true. And I'll end with that. I'm still working, y'all.
Congratulations. Take a picture here.